What about ethical concerns? What are the ethical concerns surrounding data privacy, and how can international regulations ensure responsible data usage?
I think there's two types of concerns. So if you think of data, data is always about four nouns. So noun one is people, two is about places, three is about companies, and four is about products. So it's almost always about those four nouns. Sometimes it can be crossed with time, and sometimes it can be crossed with price, but we're almost always data is about those four nouns. The data that's most sensitive, of course, is the data about people. And then there's two types of data about people. There's kind of like data about populations, like GDP per capita would be a data about population. In that case, you don't have like any privacy concerns because it's data about an aggregated group of people. And then, of course, there's data about a specific person. And data about specific person needs to be highly regulated because that data could be misused, and that data could be used for bad good. Could be, if you think of things like phishing, or there could be lots of other things that you could be doing with that data to not in the interest of that particular person. So those are the things to think about on the data front. On the separate side, then there's also just, governments have their own rules about what data can leave the country, how the data can move in the country, where the data needs to get stored in that country, et cetera. Those are generally rules that are potentially could be in the interest of government, but almost always lead to slower GDP growth of that government. So all governments have to think of different trade-offs. So there might be a security reason to implement that law for that government to go do that. But it comes at a cost of making the economy grow slower.
Mr. Auren, if I ask you that, what are your predictions about AI and data analytics in the next decade?
I think at this point, just because AI is moving so fast, that anyone who is really making a prediction 10 years out or even 10 months out doesn't know what they're talking about. Almost everything has changed massively in the last 2.5 years since ChatGPT went live. And we can expect that everything is going to change even more massively in the next 2.5 years. So it is very, very hard to know what is going to change. It's very hard to know where it's going to be good, where it's going to be difficult. One thing we can be sure of is that, it is going to change almost everything that we do. So in the short term, maybe countries like Pakistan don't see as much change, but in the long term, the entire world is going to change. And there's going to be net good things for sure that will happen. We're going to have cheaper medicines. We're going to have better healthcare. We're going to have a lot more creativity. We're going to have a lot more interesting movies and scripts and books and lots of any types of creative things, songs, etc. Those are all going to be net goods for the world. But of course, with any new technology, there could be other undersides that are unintended consequences that might not be so good for the world as well.
सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।